think you maybe want to come down and help me out with whatever. You know, it's hockey playoffs. I'm amazed to see this many people. There's obviously no Canadian fans here. Leaf fans or something. And either way, I feel sorry for everybody. But one of the things I try to do is I try to fit some time for prayer in the morning. Speaking of fitting it in, basically I wake up early to do that. Because if you've ever tried to take time to pray with little children, and I don't know how many people have kids under the age of 5. Other people have kids. I know some people do that. So the number of times you wake up in the morning and you have a 2-year-old about that far away from your face before your alarm goes off or anything else, or even sort of beside you that you're trying not to roll onto. Chances are you have to plan time ahead to do something like that. So I didn't use this book this morning, but my wife phoned me because I kept asking my wife, "Oh, gotta give this talk on fitting things in, and what the heck am I supposed to say? You tell me what to say, because normally you speak either for me and you have lots of good ideas, and generally I just steal your ideas and promote them as my own anyways. So why don't you tell me what to say?" So she was actually reading this, and I thought it was really good. This is a book called Conversations with God. Many people use it for sort of daily prayer. It follows the missal, so the Gospels, takes them and goes into some deeper focus to give some of our prayer focus. So the thing that, and this is actually today's in the 6th week of Easter on the Wednesday, the person who announces Christ, and again we're talking about the context of fitting things in the context of the goal being getting to heaven, the person who announces Christ must be willing to be unpopular at times, to forego success in human terms, to row against the current without glossing over the more demanding aspects of Christ's teachings. Things like mortification, uprightness, honesty in business and professional manners, generosity in having children, chastity, purity outside of marriage, the value of virginity and celibacy for the sake of the kingdom of heaven, and on and on. Anyways, I thought it was worth reading since it was on today's date and somebody had mentioned it. It sort of sums up what I'm trying to say about unity of life. We are going to be unpopular at times. I am unpopular at times at work. There's a great group. I work in the steel industry, as I mentioned. There's a great group of people that send around emails, and I don't have to go into detail about what kind, but the first time somebody sends you an email like that, you have a choice, right? You have a choice to live according to the way that we all should, in terms of the goal again, or you have a choice to just ignore it, or a choice to send it along, or whatever. If you don't make a choice, it's already making a choice as well. So I can remember, in fact, one of friends of ours is actually being ordained, or has just been ordained. Anthony Griffin used to work at Max Steel, and the one thing that everybody in the office remembers was the first time somebody sent one of those emails to Anthony Griffin, because he freaked out, right? He freaked out on the person. And I think it's a wonderful example that's still held up to people. Yes, and maybe some people laugh, or maybe some people chuckle, but people respect that about the person. They respect that somebody has made a choice and they accept it. And I think you'll find that that's more often the case than not. Even in a business world where the morals of the morals that we're promoting within our own lives and whatnot are maybe not necessarily that of the majority, or it may be of the majority, but it's a side of it. So anyways, that's just a specific example. So one of the images that I wanted to throw, I like food. I don't know if anybody knows. I'm really trying hard. I've actually got a personal trainer, if you can believe it. I'm not going to tell you how long I've had one. That would just be embarrassing. But so I kept thinking, I don't know why, but when I was thinking of this talk, I kept thinking of skewers of meat. Don't ask me why. So, I kept thinking, well, again, you're trying to fit things in, right? So it's like, I don't know if you order barbecued skewers and you have all these vegetables and you're trying to basically, well, in my case, I'm trying to fit as much meat onto the skewer with as little vegetables as possible to make on the skewer of the barbecue. And the idea is, yes, you can try and fit a whole bunch of things on that skewer. But in the end, what holds it all together is the skewer, right? It goes through all those things that you're trying to fit on. And again, that's what I'm trying to promote. The idea is that if really your focus is on the skewer holding everything together, and that focus on the end goal of being holy and using all these things that you're fitting on to live out that sanctification, then a lot of the other stuff becomes part of that, like I mentioned, the big adventure. You know, not living our lives in compartments and not being afraid to stand out is the basic idea there. I've given you some examples of the email. I mean, there are many, many examples that come to mind. My own personal situation, I remember being in situations at work where, you know, we have leaf tickets for a company which are, you know, highly prized commodities, and I'm not sure why, to be perfectly honest, but not a leaf fan, you probably get that, but you know, I remember being asked this past Holy Thursday, it was a big client that we were going to lengths on, and we had won some business with them, we're looking for more business with them, and had basically set up an evening out on Holy Thursday. I said an evening to go to the Leaf game and a restaurant, and in the end, one of the guys had the flu on their side, and so, you know, we were going to use a ticket, we were going to take it for waste, and you know, I was asked to please attend, right? And again, you have a choice. For me, you know, I'm not going to suggest that I'm the one that's strong enough, but the idea of phoning my wife and telling her that I was going to go to a Leaf game instead of taking the family to Holy Thursday services didn't appeal to me that much. And I'm kidding. The idea is that, you know, I talked to the guy and said, look, you know what, I'd really love to go, but I had previous plans, and you're asking me at the last minute. And I explained to him, I go to Holy Thursday services, Holy Week, and it's a really important event, religious festival and whatnot. My boss happens to be Jewish. You know, he understood and whatnot, and never thought anything about it. Although, to me, you know, and again, I would suggest to all of us in that same situation, there's something that weighs on you, right? If you're at all interested in your career and interested in moving forward and whatever else. So, but those are occasions that I think, in the end, define you. And in the end, people will never, you know, people don't necessarily hold that back against you. If they do, then, you know, maybe I would suggest, again, with the goal in mind, it's not an organization that necessarily you're going to live out your career. You're at least advancing to the point where you feel is where you want to be. You know, luckily I have a place where it is not an impediment at all. In fact, I think it helps. I know people appreciate at Max Steel that somebody is focused on not only just the work side of things, but also their family. Clearly a family person committed to that, and then that they have some religious convictions that they're willing to stand by, which can be understood regardless of the faith, as I mentioned. Okay. The next aspect, I'm sorry that I'm all over the place. If you guys have any questions, like if you want to jump into something else, please feel free to, because to be honest, it's kind of like, I give a lot of different talks in a lot of different places, and sometimes blending them all together and just changing the topic is the easiest way for me to go. But if there's things that you guys want to talk about, certainly feel free to jump in and ask whatever you want. Any burning questions at this point?
I have a question.
Yeah.
How do you juggle your time for your family and for your prayer time in the morning? What time do you wake up?
Okay, so I generally wake up at 5:45 a.m. Usually go to bed between 10:30 and 11:30 regularly. I have there's occasions where we're up later and we're up, you know, a week up later. So generally I do my prayer first thing in the morning. In terms of the afternoon, I generally go and work out at lunch hour, which is another benefit I have at work, which I've been able to take advantage of. And then on some days that I'm not going to work out, I'll go to a chapel close by and do it there. Or if not, in the evening after the kids are in bed, which is generally early. My kids, my oldest child is 12. I have 3 girls at the beginning. And we actually have a Mexican student staying with us this year, close to the same school my girls do, which is Hawthorne. And my boys go to Northmount. Those are great schools if you're looking for schools, Hawthorne and Northmount.